Hey, how's it going? I'm going to do the end of the year tag. So it's really just an excuse for me to talk about what's left on my TBR, but I thought since there's an official tag, I might as well do that. So let's have a look at the questions. First question. Are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? Well, in short, no. To give you a slightly longer answer, I've got a couple of books I am reading, but I don't need to finish them because I want to focus on my TBR. So I'll just show you what they are quickly. Margaret Thatcher Authorised Biography, Volume 1 by Charles Moore, which I'm now at page 210. So I've stalled that so I can finish my TBR. Anna Karenina, which I started reading with Henry Elliott on his Substack, and we're reading it in instalments as they were originally published in the Russian Journal. So this will be carrying on into next year. And the last one, this was a Substack recommendation, The Art of the Personal Essay, which I'm now page 58. This is a compendium of essays from Seneca and Virgil through to Montaigne and I don't even know who else. Lots and lots of essays, because I love Substack and I write a lot of essays myself, particularly about books. I wanted to read a compendium of the greats just to become more familiar with the genre. So those are the books that I'm carrying on into next year. Second question, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? No. Nice easy one. Third one, is there any new release you are still waiting for? No. Nice easy one. 4, what are the 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? So we're not going to go with 3 because I've got more than that. So at the beginning of the year, I hand wrote this TBR on stone paper. This is a notebook from Paper Chase, which no longer exists. Paper Chase, I mean, not the notebook. I think they went into administration. And it's been really fun, actually, scoring these out as I go through it. And I find it quite motivating. So you'll have seen there that there was a recommendations section. That was recommendations from fellow booktubers who are all members of a community that I'm a member of on Andrew Watson's Discord. And I got my friends to recommend a book for my first year on anniversary. First year on BookTube anniversary. So those are the recommendations, which I've now had to take a back seat to my TBR as well, because otherwise I won't get through it. So let's just take a look at what's left. Right, first of all, I wanted to talk a wee bit about mood reading versus TBR, and I know that this is a big subject on BookTube. I'm somewhere in the middle, I would say. So as you saw, I have a TBR, but I also mood read, and I can feel at the moment the pull of a book that I've already read, and it's this one here, Gnomon by Nick Harkaway. Yesterday I spent some time updating my books database in Notion, adding links to podcast episodes that discuss some of the books I've read, one of which talked about this book, and I was reminded of it during that process, and I was like, oh, I would love to read that again. Also because I'm in the middle of writing an essay about reading experiences, which I hope to make into a video as well. And this book features as one of those moments. So it's not just about books that you love, it's about books that are linked to experiences or that bring about memories somehow. And there's a scene in this book that is about a Greek entrepreneur, banker, and a shark, and yeah, it's really weird. He ends up does he get eaten by the shark or does he eat the shark? I can't actually remember. 3 years since I read the book, my memory's dreadful. But it somehow leads to his becoming a financial wizard in the stock market and stuff. This is one of the best books I've read, and it's stuck in my head, and I'm desperate to reread it. But I want to focus on the TBR. Otherwise I won't get through it. So I'm feeling that pull, and I'm saying no. So now I'm making a video to help me to focus on the TBR. Do you feel that sometimes, that pull? So let's take a look at what's left. There's a wee pile. First up, John Steinbeck, East of Eden. So this is obviously an omnibus edition of various multiple novels that cost me £2 from my favourite used book shop in Weems Bay train station. East of Eden's a reread for me. I can't remember when I first read it. It's maybe 10 years, and I'm excited to read it again, obviously, so it's on the TBR. Next up, Moby-Dick. At the end of last year I read a book by John Irving called The Last Chairlift, and Moby-Dick features in that book as a kind of plot device, and I've never read it, and so it inspired me to want to read it. This would have been December last year, and here we are in middle of November. Still haven't read it. I do love this edition though. I got this used. This is the Penguin Classics Deluxe. Look at the big eye on the back. It's great, isn't it? I do like the Penguin Deluxe Classics. So yeah, I'm feeling resistance to that, and I don't know why. Maybe the length of it. Maybe because I've heard others say that it's a challenging read. Don't know. This one here, Rogba, Payne, The Dance of Shadows, which I'm now about a third of the way through. This was one I bought at Worldcon last year in August, and I got it signed and doodled on by the author. And I'm having a good time with it. It's like nothing I've ever read. It's a fantasy book based in sort of African mythology and folklore, and it's all I can do to stop myself from just going sitting on the sofa and reading it all afternoon, because I'm having a good time with it. What I'll say about the narration of the audiobook is I'm struggling a wee bit with that. This is one that's, I think, a bit better to sit down on the sofa with, but yeah, I've been tandem reading as well, so looking forward to getting through that one. Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This is a very popular book on Booktube. I read Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell last year, which was my second time. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I would say it's one of my top 20 all-time reads. Perhaps top 10? Definitely top 20. This is a short one. I think I'll read it in December, because last year I read the midwinter one of hers in December, and well, I might read that one again too, because it takes about an hour to get through that one, so yeah, that was going to be fun. What else do we have? Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy. This has been on my TBR since 1996. I believe that's when I bought this. And I remember starting it in 1996 when I was a student at St Andrews University, and for some reason fell off it. And there was a Substack writer who mentioned it last year, which brought it back to my attention and inspired me to read it this year, and obviously I still haven't done that, but I would like to. So it's not a terribly long book compared to some of the others, so there's a good chance I'll get through that one. The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. The first of the Dandelion Dynasty novels. This was highly recommended on Andrew Watts's Discord, particularly by Lady Mayor Reads. And yeah, definitely one I want to read, but we're looking at 600 plus, 618 pages. Yeah, we'll see. Ted Chiang, Exhalation, a short story collection of sci-fi based short stories. Highly recommended by a friend of mine on Booktube, Ross Hardy. I'm looking forward to reading it. Short stories are something I don't really do enough of, and sci-fi also. I don't read much sci-fi, although what I have read I have enjoyed, so I don't know why I read less of it than other genre. And kind of the last one, Sons of Darkness, Gourav Mohanty. Another recommendation from Lady Mayor Reads, amongst others, on Andrew's Discord. I met the author at Worldcon, where he had a meltdown when he got to meet his hero, George R.R. Martin. And this book, or George R.R. Martin, inspired Gourav Mohanty in a big way to start writing. And I've heard say that this is like a kind of Indian Game of Thrones, like a dark fantasy, based on the Mahabharata, so I'm led to believe. So, yeah, the sequel of this is out now, which, confusingly, is called not The Dance of Shadows, but just Dance of Shadows. So it gets a bit confusing on the Discord when the book's title is mentioned, because you're like, which one? The sequel of this one is also out. I think it's called Testimony of Blood. At the moment, given what I've read of this one, I'm quite sure I am going to read the sequel. And it has a beautiful cover, just like this one does. So, yeah, that's another one possibly to get in next year at some point. So that's what I've got left for the rest of the year. So I counted that as 8 books, thousands of pages, at least 2,000. Can I do it? Watch this space. I said that was kind of the last one because there's also this book here, The Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler, which I bought last year. It's been on my shelf since then. I really want to read it. And yesterday, Hayley Larson, PhD, just launched a read-along of this book over the next month on her Substack. And I was like, ooh, I really want to read it. And Hayley Larson's read-alongs are next level. She goes deep. The stuff that she puts out in Substack is fantastic. So not only would I get to read a great novel with a great writer, I would also get to learn how she builds her read-alongs, and it's something I want to do more going into 2026. I've done 3 this year on my Substack and thoroughly enjoyed it, got a lot out of it, and I want to improve and to grow both as a reader and as a writer and as someone who can take others through great literature. But, as I spoke about earlier, focus, TBR, distractions, books pulling me, making me want to read them at the expense of the TBR. It's a zero-sum game, isn't it? You read one book, you're not reading another book. It's short though, isn't it? 300 pages. What am I going to do? I really need to start it today if I'm going to participate. What should I do? Tell me what to do. Right, next question. 5. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favourite book of the year? Well, I suppose any one of them could, really. Who can say? Question 6. Have you started making reading plans for next year? Yes, indeed. Parable of the Sower might be one of them if I don't get to it this year. I've started writing out a TBR for books that I just knew I wasn't going to get to this year. So we've got Things Become Other Things, a walking memoir by Craig Maud, who's a writer I've been following online for a while, an American who lives in Japan, and he does long walks and discusses and thinks and writes, and just love his stuff. The Black Earth by Andrew Mayer. This is really exciting for me. Economist Book of the Year. Russia After the Fall. I'm guessing it's a little bit like Second-Hand Time by Svetlana Alexievich, which is another book I loved that was all about normal people and how they felt about the fall of the Soviet Union. Both older people who'd experienced it and younger people who never had. So that was fascinating, as I expect this to be. Recommended by another Substack / booktuber that I follow, Brock Covington, who posts as The Active Mind. The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. I believe it's grimdark, which is a subgenre of fantasy that I particularly enjoy. The First Binding by R.R. Verde, which is a fantasy book and I believe is quite derivative of The Name of the Wind. But I'm alright with that because I like The Name of the Wind. So I'm looking forward to that. And Stephen King on writing. So these are plans going into next year. There are others. There's a possibility that I'm going to do a buddy read of Magician by Raymond E. Feist, and that's serious. I have plans to do more read-alongs, as I mentioned, probably starting in January with The Master and Margarita, because the last one I did was another Bulgakov novel, The White Guard, and I'm kind of now steeped in the universe of Bulgakov, and I want to learn more and go deeper into his world. Plus, of course, Master and Margarita is one of my all-time favourite novels, so that would be a good one to lead. In terms of what else I might want to read, I was thinking about doing the Gormenghast trilogy. Those are firm favourites of mine, and it would probably be a year-long project to take people through those 3 books. So I've yet to kind of plan that properly. I don't have long to do that, so I should really get on that and announce it if I want people to join. Other than that, I can't think of any other read-alongs I'm planning to do for the moment. Those are the 2 kind of big ones. I kind of want to get away from just being the Russian lit guy. Although maybe I should be niching down further into being the Russian lit guy. Because there's a lot of read, there's also a lot of not read. So we'll see. So that's the end of year tag for 2025. It's been fun. I'd quite like to do this again, so maybe I'll make this an annual thing. If you fancy tagging yourself, go ahead and do that and let me know you've done that and I'll watch your video. That would be great. I'm looking forward to chatting to you some more, and I hope to get my wrap up done for this month very soon and keep all that going through into the end of the year. Cheers folks, see you later.